Hello, I'm Captain Richard Cordo with the department, and we're coming to you live here out of our information shop. And we want you because we're going to be experiencing next week or so, and we want for those temperatures. Also, person on standby to kind of give you an update on, and also we have our medical director here in studio answer some questions. If you have any questions about heat related we could do during this time, go ahead and commenting in our comment section. So for you. So let's go ahead and start off with our weather person out of our Matt Sherman.
We have strong high pressure over Southern California. It's bringing hot, very dry conditions, and it's going to continue at least through the early part of next week. We're looking at temperatures 10 to 15 degrees above normal with highs between 105 and 110 degrees, and humidities. We have strong high pressure over Southern California. It's bringing hot, very dry conditions, and it's going to continue.
Go back to Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. We're experiencing some temperatures that we have not climbed here in Riverside County. Be somewhere, at least here on the west end, 100 and 110, and Palm Springs area, Coachella Valley, 115, maybe even higher. And I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Foster. Thank you for being here today. A couple of questions that we have for you is keep themselves safe during the heat wave.
It's something that a lot of people would think it's an easy plan ahead. It is an easy thing to do. Just take your dog for a walk yourself in the early morning hours when it's still beyond you. There are other things, including going to cooling centers in the county that will help keep people cool if they're broken or if they have someone that experience problems with the heat.
When should they get in self-hydrated for the day?
You should start hydrating. When you're out in this type of heat, it's easy to dehydrate. Sweat quite a bit without even knowing it. You don't just lose liquid, but you also, when that happens, you can start. One of the first things you can see is as you have that dehydration, you have that your muscles need to contract.
Good point. As firefighters, we're always to drink plenty of water, especially at our days and real early in the morning. But energy drinks, how do we those? We don't want to drink those all the time because water. But how would someone?
It would be a good thing to start off with. The firefighting service, when we do have fires, we have specific fluid that we use that has a concentration of electrolytes that allows our firefighters to actually replenish those, but it's not an every time drink because Gotcha. If you get too many electrolytes, that can also, in a way, dehydrate you as well. So having that water on top of the beverages that do have salt and other electrolytes is going to be very important.
So would you recommend maybe what we were kind of trained or put ourselves into is we were always told one bottle of Gatorade or the type of energy drink, you would drink 2 bottles of water.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So if someone's out and about and they're exercising and they start experiencing some type of heat-related illness, what are the signs and symptoms of that?
So the first thing is going to be to recognize that there is a sign or symptom present. It is a progressive disease that can actually progress fairly rapidly. So the second that you believe that there may be something that you're experiencing or someone that you love is experiencing, the first thing you have to do is stop the exercise that you're doing and get to a cool place. Some people will experience a heat rash, which will look like almost little pimples, usually in areas that are high sweat areas. And that's sweat glands that are blocked. And as they try to sweat, they will pop up a little bit. See the cramps that we were talking about, because you have excessively sweat and you've lost your minerals, you've lost your water. If that's not repleted and the exercise continues and your body heat still goes up, other things can happen. Nausea vomiting is something that we see commonly. Generalized fatigue is something that you'll see as well. When it pushes from just a heat illness to something along the lines of heat stroke, that's a body temperature over 104 degrees, along with confusion or other mental status changes. And that is a absolute emergency. If someone is out in the heat, they were doing something, they were sweating, now they feel cool, they're not sweating and they're confused, that is a call 911.
Gotcha. I don't know if you're experiencing some type of illness like this, but so if one of my family members is starting to experience this, do I want to get them into some type of cool ice bath or maybe some cool towels, or how do we go about if I'm going to do this before rescues get there to my house?
Get them to a cool area. How cold is not necessarily going to be as important as stopping the exercise and getting them somewhere where they can start to lose some of that body heat.
Gotcha.
So if you can wrap them in a cold towel, that will help. If you can get them into something cold, that will help as well. One of the things that we look out for if we are rapidly cooling is shivering, because shivering will increase body temperature, that you're not pushing that far. If you are going to do something while you're waiting for EMS to arrive, definitely somewhere cool is the best thing.
Gotcha. And to kind of let you all know again, if you're just joining us, I'm Cal Fire Richard. I'm with Cal Fire Richard. Oh my gosh. I'm Richard Cordeaux with Cal Fire Riverside County Fire Department, and I'm here today with our medical director, Dr. Foster. And if you want to have a question, or you have a question for the doctor or for us, please put in the comments and we'll try to get those answers for you. We are talking about the extreme weather that's happening here today or this week in Riverside County. We're expecting extreme weather conditions throughout the next week, if even not further. So we want to talk about something very serious. If we are experiencing some type of heat-related illness, please call 911. Get your loved ones to a facility as quick as possible. This could be a serious medical condition that they could be dealing with. Another question that we have for the doctor: what should they do when someone is experiencing or a loved one is experiencing some type of heat-related illness? I think you kind of touched bases on this a little bit, but maybe we could elaborate. You talked about for our newer viewers, is getting those individuals out of that element, either
Correct.
Exercising or out of the heat.
Correct, and ideally both. If it was exercise induced, if it is a environmentally induced, let's say you go and you find your mother or father and their house, they're sitting in their chair sweating, and they say that they're tired, that their muscles are cramping, that their AC stopped working 2 days ago, but they didn't want to bug you, so they didn't call you. That's something that they need to be removed from that environment and most likely needs medical attention.
Right. And you make a good point, because being on the fire engine for many years, you go to these houses, especially with the elderly, they're in they may not have certain types of money available to them to turn on those air conditioners. So it's very important to go out and look over your loved ones to see where they're at, especially at this time. A lot of times people can stay in their homes without using the air conditioner, but in this extreme heat, it's going to get very hot. It may be 110 outside, but inside it could be even warmer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And it'll happen quickly too.
right. And we want to also tell people that throughout Riverside County, we have cooling centers available. You could visit capriverside.org. That's capriverside.org. Click on that link or visit rivco.org, rivco.org. Again, I'm Captain Richard Cordeaux with Cal Fire Riverside County Fire Department. We are here live in our Paris headquarters studio talking about the heat that we're experiencing for the last couple of days and probably going to experience until next Tuesday, even not further out. And the difference between what we're experiencing now and maybe last week or the last I would say last 2 months is we have more of a drier heat this time versus we had a lot of humidity the last time. So I know a lot of people, I'm kind of used to it because we've been dealing with it for the last 2 months, but really this dry heat is more extreme, I think, on the body than maybe because we're not used to it like the people in Florida or other parts of the state like that.
It can definitely be difficult with the changing humidity levels. When it is extremely humid out, sweating becomes less effective. Anybody that's ever lived in back east would know when
Right.
summer comes around and you step outside,
Right,
you're just
right.
covered in sweat and there's nothing that's going to get rid of it.
Right.
The dry heat does make it a little bit harder to determine what's going on sometimes. When you do sweat, you are evaporating liquid and you are getting rid of heat that way. Just because you were to touch someone's skin or when they're experiencing some sort of heat illness, it doesn't mean that you can tell their temperature from that. Sometimes people will have absolutely no sweat when they're close to a heat stroke, and their skin may feel cool, and that's the body trying to
Gotcha.
shunt and try
Right.
to get rid of some of that heat. When things get too hot and your brain doesn't work properly, and the sweating stops, and people sometimes will take that as a false sense of security. They'll say, well, look, they stopped sweating, they're going to take a nap, they're going to feel fine. And that's something that you need to watch out for, especially if they're still in the same environment that the initial heat illness was caused in.
Gotcha. I think we're going to check if we have any questions from our online. We're talking about, and I know a lot of people in Riverside County and in Southern California, they're used to this type of temperatures, but we haven't experienced this for quite some time now. So one thing that we're also looking at is that we're also in a holiday weekend. So a lot of people are going to be going out and about and trying to get out for the last time for the summer to enjoy themselves, and which we totally get. But we want you to be safe while you're going out there. Watch each other, especially with the heat-related illnesses that may appear on your loved ones. Also, with the higher temperatures and for the last 2 months, one of the reasons we haven't seen many major fires down here in the southern region is because the humidity has been so high that our fires haven't been taken off like they would in normal past years. But now we're at a time of the year where our temperatures are high, our humidity are lower. Once we get into the teens, even below that, all it takes is one spark to light a major wildland fire. We had one take off down in San Diego County yesterday. So the temperature and the humidity is kind of prime at this time. But again, thank you all. You'd like to add to?
The other thing I'd like to add is, and we may have a question.
Yeah.
Make sure that if you are involving your furry friends for your exercise, that you understand how hot the asphalt can get. It can be very easy for paws to burn. So be very cautious of that if you're taking your dog out.
Well, that's a great point. We have a pet, and he's actually very lucky. He has his own swimming pool in the backyard, so he's always trying to keep cool and that way. And again, keeping them hydrated also with plenty of water out there, because they're gonna, just like a human, they're gonna lose that type of hydration very quickly in this heat.
Another thing to add in is if you guys are joining us late or you have any questions on some of the stuff that we went over, there are multiple resources to look at heat illness. CDC has something out, California has something out. So if you're wondering what symptoms there could be if you forget from our discussion or you came in late, you can definitely go online and look for those. And if you have any concern that any of those are occurring, it's definitely worth getting out of the heat and then looking up.
Gotcha. One of the questions we had, which is a very good question, is that will the schools either will shut down, or will the kids stay inside during this heat related event that we're having and with your local school district? But I would tell you most schools in Riverside County already have plans put together. If the temperature reaches a certain degrees, they do not go outside and have recess. They stay indoors. So they have some great plans that we have together. They also have a new one, which I heard the other day, is that they, if the humidity gets too high, they also keep the kids indoors also. So there is a plan together with a lot of the school districts, but go ahead and check with those teachers or your local school districts to get that information, but I know some have already been put in place. Any other that you know of that people put in place during these type of heat-related?
Nothing big that comes to mind. Definitely with what's going on, keep an eye on the weather. It may say that it's going to be cool tomorrow, and it's not going to be. So
Right.
make sure that when you do make plans that you are planning for weather to possibly change.
Right, and that's a great point too, because this morning, getting in my vehicle and coming to work, I noticed a lot of clouds, higher clouds in the sky. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be a little cooler than what they say it's going to be. But we're at this time we're about 106 here in the Riverside County area, so the temperatures are kind of staying up there. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm Captain Richard Cordova, Fire Department, and I'm here with Medical Director Dr. Foster, and we're just trying to keep everyone updated on these current events that we're having with the extreme weather. We are taking questions from you from our commentary. So if you do have a question, please let us know. And I think we have another question that popped up: is there too much water that someone could take?
There definitely is. So it's a balance, and like we discussed earlier, for those of you that weren't here, it's a mix of electrolyte-containing fluids and water. If you have too much water and just pure water, you end up diluting out a lot of the electrolytes that are in your blood, and that can cause dysfunction in the life.
Right. And we want water. We just because you're taking fluids and that doesn't mean coffee, tea, soft drinks, stuff like that, or even energy drinks that could be very bad for some individuals. But when we talk about being hydrated, that's taking on those electrolytes, the Gatorade products, the Powerades, and then also taking on water. So again, what the doctor said, you can obviously take in too much water as you go throughout the day. But again, start early in the day with your water. Start your exercise routine early in the morning. Try to get out there early in the morning to do that. Anything else you want to touch on before we close up?
No, I think.
Thank you all for joining us. Again, if you have any comments, go ahead and still put them in those comments. We'll try to get back to you later. But this has been an update on the extreme heat that we're going to be expecting here in Riverside County for the next, I would say, week or so. So please be safe this weekend. We know it's a holiday weekend. Go out there, have a safe time with your loved ones, but just be cautious and watch each other. Thank you.